I'm going to show you today how to change your router bit in an MU2 manual benchtop routing machine. First thing you do is unplug the machine. I like to do it right here at the machine and keep the cord with the plug in my line of sight so I know that nobody can plug it in without me knowing it. It's rather safe. Next thing you do is take the center plate off. There's a little more room to work here. And now what we do is we need to raise up the motor so we can work on it. 13mm open end wrench. Open the lock nut. Simply raise it up and now lower the threaded rod. Keeps the motor above the machine table. With a little Allen key here you can access the bolt that holds the motor in place. That is the motor clamp or the motor bracket. You open it up and the motor slides right out to the back. These 750 and also on 1000 watt motors we need a 18mm and 22mm open end wrench. Simply break the collet loose. Now you see you can spin the collet nut, but it tightens up again, and at this point the router bit is still tight in the collet. If you try to pull it out by hand, it won't come out, but you'll likely cut your fingers. So spin the nut until it's tight again, and then use the wrench one more time to open it up. Now you can simply slide the router bit out. Install the new bit. And just hand tighten the nut to a point where you can still adjust and slide the bit in and out. Before we put the motor back in the machine, we'll take the chip breaker out. That's easier to do now than later. And now we can install the motor. Be careful not to move or slide the bit. When you bring the motor back in, you don't want to slide it in until it bottoms out. You want to pull it back about 3/30 seconds, 2 to 3 millimeters. This will give you a little bit room for later adjustment if you need it. To set the correct projection of your router bit, your square stop that comes with the machine is equipped with setup steps. You take the orange handle and the square nut off, and if you turn it around, you'll see it says W1, 2, 3, and 4 for the 4 different router bits that are available. You always want to take the square stop out of the track when you use it for setting up. If you leave it in the track, there's a little gap or space between the end of the square stop and the back fence, and that won't give you an accurate setting. So take it out and turn it over, and now since we're installing a W2 router bit, we use the middle step and simply slide the bit in until the setup gauge touches the back fence on both sides. Now I need to carefully take that motor back out because I need to tighten up the collet, and there's really no good way to get to it with the motor installed. So I'll take it back out, being careful not to move the bit. Use the 18 and 22mm wrench and just tighten it up. Goes back in. Now what you like to do is you can tighten up that bolt a little bit so you're still able to move the motor, but it keeps it from sliding too easily. You use the setup jig again with the medium step for W2 and use that to set the motor. Tighten the bolt and your motor is now set in place. Now we need to lower it back down, and then we'll make a test cut on a couple of sample pieces so we can check our setting. Two sample pieces. Set my routing height to about 5/8 of an inch with the corresponding key. I can plug the machine back in. Make sure the motor's turned on. Getting a little dust flying around because we do not have a dust collector hooked up because of the noise. You make the 2 test cuts, you may get a little tear out on the bottom because you don't have a chip breaker installed, but when you insert the key, you see very quickly if your setting is correct. You can feel that key going in nice and tight, your corner is aligned perfectly, face of your molding is pulled together, so that is the correct setting, and we can leave it. Move this plate back. Now what we're going to do is we turn the motor off, but we keep it plugged in, and this time we need to raise it up a little bit higher, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay, now to the chip breaker. If you change from simply a dull W2 bit to a new W2 bit, or if you go from a W2 to an oversized, or even to a W3, you can use the old chip breaker, provided that it's not torn up or splintered on the top. If you're changing from a W2 to a W1 bit, if you go down in size, or if the chip breaker is damaged, you will install a new one to make sure that the back of your molding is nice and clean after it's been routed. New chip breakers are included with the router bits. They are uncut, and you will set that in. Tighten it down with a little bolt. Make sure that's nice and tight so that the chip breaker cannot wiggle around in there. The initial cut for a new chip breaker is made from the top down. If we simply cut down without putting anything on top, we run the risk of the material splintering on top. So what we do is use a piece of scrap molding that we have here, place it on top, bring that plate forward and lock it. That helps lock it in place a little bit. And then we also bring the hole down, and now we back off the little threaded stem again. The reason we kept the machine or the motor plugged in during this process is because we need to hold it with one hand here on the handle and now turn it on. And if you've got it unplugged over here, you're going to have a tough time getting to it. So just be aware that the motor was plugged in, but it was switched off on the motor switch. Reach over, turn it on, and then we slowly make a cut from the top down through the material. And that is it. New router bit is installed, new chip breaker is installed, the machine is ready to go.